It's now been over a month since the new WorldBox update came out on PC as a beta. I know, you mobile players are in shambles right now, trust me, I used to be a mobile player too, I know how it feels. But to hopefully alleviate some of that pain, today I'm going to be going over literally everything, at least that I know about the new update. I'm going to be showing you everything. If there's something that you want to see, just watch until you see it, then click off if you want, but I'm going to try to showcase literally everything about the new update. So, let's begin. And if you like this video, you should join my Discord in case you want to point out anything I may have missed in this video, or if there's anything else that you need further explaining on, so go check it out. The very first thing I'm going to do is unlock everything, because as you know, WorldBox likes to keep a lot of stuff locked, either behind a paywall if you're on mobile, or if you're playing on PC or mobile, you first have to find something in the world to unlock it. Now obviously I could do that, but that would take me too long and I'm kind of a lazy person, so I'm just going to show you how to quickly unlock all of it if you want to. So first you have to spawn in 500 elves, and then once you have those guys, you want to make a big old pit of lava. Then take a medium-sized brush and drop said elves into said lava. And you'll see a dark enlightenment drowns the world on the top of your screen. You go to world laws, you go to this forbidden knowledge one on the left, and you click forbidden knowledge, and then you will have everything unlocked early. I know it's pretty sweet. So first thing we'll show once we actually have everything ready is we are going to show the new biomes. So these will only be the new ones. We have the birch biome. Looks pretty snazzy. We have the maple biome. Once again, looks pretty cool. We have the rockland biome. Once again, looks pretty cool with these little Moai statues. The flower biome. The celestial biome. The singularity swamp, probably the coolest biome I've seen so far. The paradox biome, also another cool biome. And finally, the clover biome, which feels to me kind of like just a watered down version of the enchanted biome, but that's just me. And now the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you a lot of the new species. So first we have our 4 human civilizations, we have all our animals like normal. But if we go over to the right here, we get some new funky stuff. But I'm not sure if all these are new, but we have flower buds, kind of just like little flower animals. We have little snail-like animals. We got literal s'mores, crystal swords, which are just swords that are alive. These things called garls. Not sure what they do, but they seem feisty. We have acid blobs. Then on the more sapient side, we have these luliars, which are kind of like humanoid flowers, and they, as we can see here, have the ability to make civilizations. We have lemon people, once again, they can make civilizations. We have the Candyman. We have the acid gentleman, not sure what the difference is. Can also make civilizations, the only difference is they have top hats now. We have garlic men, crystal golems. All of the guys in this tab, like the bandits, the evil mages, and all this, are still here, but now they have the ability to make their own cities. And if you want to see what those cities look like along with all these other stuff, just check out some of my previous videos, specifically my Battle Royale video on this, and you can very easily see it. Because as my Battle Royale, I had all of these guys make their own civilizations and go to war. One of the new creatures here that can finally rival the demons is the angles. A very mysterious species. If you look at them, they are carrying ice hammers, which is weird. Other animals like unicorns have been added. We have some of these flaming skulls all around. Even ghosts, fire skulls. And now probably on to what you guys are really here to see is the new humanoid animals. And once again, if you want to see these guys in action, I've already made a video with the Battle Royale of all of them. But we'll still go over them real quick. We have the Meowmorph, humanoid cats. The Bark Folk, humanoid dogs. The Peck Lords, humanoid chickens. The Hoppers, humanoid rabbits. The Monkey, humanoid monkeys. The Flypaws, humanoid foxes. The Bakans, humanoid sheep. The Mutars, humanoid cows and bulls. The Almadars, humanoid armadillos. The Howleaters, humanoid wolves. The Grenths, humanoid bears. The Armoroks, humanoid rhinoceroses. Humanoid buffalo. The Lowclaws, humanoid hyenas. The Nibblings, humanoid rats. The Charmakas, humanoid llama alpacas. One of those. The Chilbara, humanoid capybaras. The Herders, humanoid goats. The Coolbeaks, humanoid penguins. And then the last row here, we have Crablins, humanoid crabs. The Scorps, humanoid scorpions. The Turtoks, humanoid turtles. Reptiloids, humanoid crocodiles. Nox, humanoid snakes. The Rippets, humanoid frogs. And lastly, the Napkins, humanoid piranhas. And I tried to spawn in a few of them. As you can see, they are all capable on their own of forming their own civilizations. So actually, I'm going to give these civilizations some time to develop while we look into some of the new things that are possible. And we will start with some of the new tabs. Some of the new additions into the game are religions, languages, families, and subspecies. These are all very in-depth, and subspecies can be customized to a very wide degree. But still, looking at this tab, we can look at some interesting stats here. Say we click on a unit, we can turn on some things like the destination arrow, show where that unit's headed if you hover over them. The lover arrow, which shows their romantic partner with a little pink line. The house arrow, which will point to where the unit lives. Obviously, right now these guys don't have any houses, but if they did have a house, it would show you. Family arrow, which would show all of the family members of this selected unit. Parents arrow, which would show the parents of the selected unit once they actually have kids. And the kid arrow will point towards the children of the unit selected. And lastly, the attack target arrow would show who this selected unit is going to attack, say that there's a war or conflict. Also here, we can see little chat bubbles between these members. Members will now engage in communication, which I think adds a lot of life to the game and adds a lot of spice to it, makes it feel less robotic, it makes it feel more real, which of course makes it all the more painful when you still decide to bomb them. And now we can start looking at some of the really cool new stuff. First, let's look at the subspecies. Now this is the same for all different subspecies, but with the subspecies, you can turn essentially any animal into the game into sentient life. Now the animals that I have spawned in here today are sapient life, which means they're human-like. But you can still turn any animal, even like your normal cat or dog, into a sentient creature that can form their own kingdom. So I'll spawn one in here. I'm going to spawn some normal cats, not humanoid, just normal cats. And we are going to turn them into a civilization that's capable of a lot of things. So first, we can just go to the subspecies tab and click on the Felis catus, which is the cat name of the cat subspecies. And on the left, you'll see a lot of interesting tabs here, which we'll all look over. First is the subspecies editor, which we can use for a number of different traits, like the advanced brain. All of these stats do different things, which you can pause and look real quick if you want to. But essentially, these, if you turn all these on, this whatever animal you have selected will be able to turn into a powerful species capable of building civilizations. Furthermore, if we look into their mind, there's even more stuff here, like super positivity, slow builders, pure, inquisitive, intelligent, psychotic, fast builders, dream weavers, cautious, telepathic link. There's so much that I can't really cover it all. So we can look more in depth. You can turn off their ability to even need to eat. And if you do have the ability to eat on, you can choose what they eat. As we can see, the cats are naturally carnivores, meaning they'll want to eat meat. But you can make them eat a number of different things. You can make them omnivores. You can make them cannibals. You can literally make them eat wood or rocks if you want to. The possibilities are endless. Rebirth, you can make this animal turn into something completely different upon their death. Growth, this is kind of the same thing. On death, they turn into something else. Bioproducts are little things that they produce by existing, so they could produce gems or gold just by existing alone. Chaos is kind of crazy stuff here. We have aggressive, which means they'll just crash out and attack people. Annoying fireworks when they die, just explode. So much stuff here. Children of any animal in the subspecies will inherit all of the traits from their parents. Nimble, units can now steal items from other units too if they wish. It may be an unstable genome where their genes keep shifting, which we'll look into the genes in a second. Some more stuff here. We have all of the talents, which all do a different thing. Sleep cycle, you can make it so that these certain creatures need to have sleep or hibernate. You can choose if these creatures reproduce, and if you do, you can choose how, which could be from normal sexual reproduction, asexual reproduction, fission, budding, divine, metamorph. And you can even choose how long that these creatures need the G state for, which in other words means how long is the main creature pregnant for before they can have a child. You can even choose what a creature's egg will look like. You can give them some funky mutations like turning them into literal cheeseburgers. You can make them adapt to certain biomes. And lastly, you can give them a different phenotype, which means you can just simply change the color of what they look like. We barely scratched the surface. Next we have the birth editor. This is just like the trait menu. It's actually identical to the trait menu, except that every trait you apply here will be given to every new member of the subspecies. So the current members of the subspecies will not be given these traits, but when they have kids, the kids will have it. And there's limitless options here. And within the new traits, let's look at some of the new stuff. The main thing you may see here are these new traits like dodging, deflecting projectiles, dashing, blocking, and backstep. And there's some more here like Titan's Lungs, maybe the Chosen One or Heart of the Wizard, Arcane Reflexes and Battle Reflexes, maybe even Thief, which allows these units to be very good at taking from others. But in general, a lot of the traits are honestly the same. And possibly the coolest part of the subspecies, I have to say, is the genetics. Just look at all of this here. There is so much that you can customize about every single subspecies down to the last detail. This is what the gene of the cat currently looks like. And while this might look complicated, it's pretty simple. Each of these little boxes here, each of these little hexagons gives an additional trait, in this case, all positive to the cat. We can see here that health 2 gives more health, damage 3 gives more damage, health 3 here gives 100 more health, more speed, more stamina, more armor, a faster mutation rate, more offspring, all of that. And if we head down here, we can customize it. So we can make them bigger, we can make them smaller, we can give them better skills like stewardship or warfare, maybe diplomacy, or even just damage if we want. We can even give them harmful genes if we want, which may hurt their DNA sequence and give them worse traits over time if you choose to do so. You can really do anything you want here. And you may notice that all of these little genes in the gene pool here have different colors coming out from them. And if you're able to mix and match these colors correctly, like I did right here with the big size, it gives a boost to that gene and doubles its effectiveness. So instead of 30% bigger, the cats are now 60% bigger, as we can see right here. And further, on every single kingdom you click on or subspecies, on the bottom left here, you're going to see some more stats. So you can see interesting creatures, which is one thing that I have been wanting in the game for as long as it existed. With the interesting people tab, you can see so much about a given subspecies or kingdom, whatever. You can see who the most known is based on their renown, who the highest level is, who's the oldest, who's the youngest, who's the richest, who's the fullest, who's the smartest, who's the fastest, who's the strongest, and other things will also appear too, like who has the most kills once a unit gets a kill. You can also see the population pyramid of different subspecies or kingdoms. As you can see here, it's going to be the same obviously because I just spawned all these guys in, but as time goes on, we'll see you can see the different demographics. And lastly, you can see statistics, and you can compare these statistics against all sorts of different kingdoms, but you can see so many things here: deaths, births, population, army size, so much. The list goes on. Now let's look into the individual units now. What's different? First thing you'll notice is there's a different UI than usual. You can see many things here, like how long the unit's lifespan is supposed to be, how many kills they have, even their birthday, their task, their best friend, so much stuff. Their language, their culture, their subspecies, their normal species, even how much they weigh. And also down here, you can see their lover if they have one. But let's move on here. We have the trait editor like normal. This is usual. We've already seen the new traits. But then we have the equipment editor here. You can add as much equipment as you want to the units, and you can add all sorts of equipment. You can add the flame sword, you can add spears, bows, shotguns if you want, literally anything. And if you click on these different pieces of armor, you can now favorite individual pieces of armor, and you can also re-roll it into maybe something good. You can reforge it to make it legendary. You can make it cursed, which will make sure the unit can never get rid of this armor ever until they die. Or you can make it eternal, which makes it so it will never break. You can also see a unit's genealogy here. Obviously, this young unit is not going to have much, but you can see their children, their siblings, their parents, their grandparents, the whole family tree. You can even look into the unit's mind, which will show so many different things, many of which you can turn off. Now, this is too complex that I don't even understand really what's going on here at the core of this. But basically, you can turn off some of these traits, and it might screw with them a little bit. So you might just want to play around with this once you get access to it. But another thing you can do is finally, if you see in the bottom left, you can take possession of certain units. And with this, you can walk around as your favorite unit, you can attack, you can even talk with other people too. Talk around, you can yell, if you want to, you can steal from people, and then run away with shift and dash. It's awesome. You can jump around, backstep, you can have some awesome battles here all by yourself if you want. It does not even matter. And now let's look at kingdoms. First off, we can see that there's a kingdom editor now, which you can use to only determine the amount of tax in the world. So you can have a high tribute from villages or a low tribute from villages. And then you can see in the individual villages themselves, you can either have a high tax on its citizens or a low tax. And now let's look into a very interesting aspect, the king. If you look at the king or even a village leader, you'll see pretty much normal stuff, and then you'll see plots. And plots are very interesting. There's a lot of new plots in the game. Now some of them are only available at certain times, but you can see that you can form an alliance, destroy an alliance if you're already part of one, join an alliance, which means one already has to exist. You can start peace talks if you're at war, you can start a war, or you can orchestrate a rebellion. All of this you can do on your own. You can finally do this manually instead of hoping or praying that it does or doesn't happen. There's a bunch of new rites here, different rituals that'll cause destruction upon an enemy kingdom. Or there's even some rites where you can summon some stuff like demons, angles, plants, or skeletons. And then there's some merciful rites that give little buffs to your citizens, like casting bubble shields or giving coffee. And finally, on the little bottom here, we can see that your king has the ability to make a new culture, make a new language, invent their own religion, or make a rite of ascension to a clan, which makes the clan more powerful. And we will be looking into all of this in a second. So in the meantime, we're going to create a new religion, so we can look at that in a second. But while we're waiting, let's move into the first of those things. Let's just simply start with the language. So we see here a language. It has 83 speakers. You can see so many different stats about it, like how many males, females, how many happy units are in it, total coins, just so much random stuff that I can't even get into really about it. You can see the creator of the language. You can see a lot. But you can also go into a language editor, and you can change so many different aspects about almost every part of the language. You can make it so that these people write in strict spelling and organized. You can make it so they just scribble. You can make them have a nice structured grammar. You can make it so they write in just little glyphs like frowny faces or smiley faces. Or you can make them write in mathematical form that give them more intelligence. Here, powerful words reading gives people more strength. You can write love letters, or you can have ancient ruins of text. You can have happiness from writing, you can have charm from writing, or you can include more conversation. And then of course, there's a fair share of chaos. Reading may freeze, reading may curse the reader, reading may lead to doom, reading may lead to death, to rage, fire, to scaredness, or to even just insanity. And then of course there's a few random ones too. Reading gives you more of a lifespan, or reading may duplicate the person who reads it. There's just so much to go on. So let's move on to the next thing. Next we have culture. Now culture has been in the game since the last update. I'm sure most of you are familiar with it, but you may not be familiar with the two new aspects of it. Here, let me introduce to you the culture editor, and this is just, it's awesome. So there's a ton of stuff to go over here, so let's begin going over it. So we have, the first is the harmony section, where as we can see, we have the solitude seekers, where the people of this culture prefer to build less houses and be more alone. Then we have the people who like to hive and pack together in densely packed housing. And then we have dense dwellings, where more houses than normal are constructed, but not as many as the hive society and a lot more than in the solitude society. Then we have the architecture of roads, which is simply if you turn it on, the society will build roads from one house to another. Then we have the big one, the town plan. So there's a bunch of different plans here. The first one is the buildings will just be built randomly with no sense. And then next we have the grand arrangement, where all buildings are placed in a perfect arrangement. Wobbly pattern, where buildings are centered within zones, but they're kind of just loosely placed around. Moon step, each building is placed with a subtle vertical variation from the center. And also, if you don't notice here, and on the bottom, as you can see, we can actually see what species will automatically have these traits for their own language or culture or whatever. And this applies to all of this. It applies to the culture, the kingdom, the language. It applies to all of it. Every species and subspecies is personalized in a way. And then of course we have a lot more town planning here, which instead of explaining it, just look at the picture here, and this is pretty much how they build. So you look around, this one's kind of cool with the little architect's eyes, the honeycomb, the labyrinth, the rings. It's pretty cool. But now as we come down here to the bottom, we see some more important things. We see male conscription, female conscription, which male conscription means that the military will only take male soldiers. Female conscriptions means the military will only take female soldiers. We have tiny legends, which means it's child labor. We have expansionists, which means that this culture wants to rapidly expand and occupy different amounts of land. We have buildings, we have statue lovers, which means this culture loves to make statues. And we have tower lovers, which means they love to build more towers. Now, I do need to note, these cultures will still make statues, they'll still make towers, but if you have these traits on, they'll build more than usual. This is succession. This is mainly meant for the kings. So this is how the king is chosen for the kingdom. And diplomatic ascension means they'll essentially choose the most qualified. Fame's crown means the most famous person will be selected. The golden rule means that the richest person, the best warrior, the best male, the best female, the youngest, powers divided equally among heirs. And finally, the unbroken chain. This is not actually a succession, but have noticed in maybe some of my videos or other people's videos you watched, if there is no heir for when a king dies, the kingdom will split apart into individual different villages. They'll all split apart into different villages, and this unbroken chain here, if you equipped it, will prevent that from happening. So let's move into some more things about culture, because we have a lot to cover with culture. For knowledge, we have training potential, which means that this culture values training more, and there'll be more progress per level up. These soldiers will overall be better. Reading lovers, which means that this culture will like to read and it will give them happiness. Fast learners, this culture will acquire knowledge at an increased rate. Expertise exchange, talking will give them more experience learning, help them level them up. Attentive readers, people won't receive negative effects from reading. And ancestors knowledge, children are already born carrying the heritage of their parents. And I might want to specify here, what is reading? Well, there's not any yet because the world's not old enough. But essentially, characters, part of a culture, can write books. These books will give new status effects or unlock knowledge for whoever those who read it. Now, mostly these books have positive effects, but sometimes they can have negative effects too. So whenever you hear reading, that is what they're referring to. So let's look at warfare here. We have weaponsmith mastery, which means that there's an increased likelihood that this culture will craft legendary weapons. Armorsmith mastery is the same thing, but it's instead of weapons, it is armor. And this is weapons. This is basically what weapon they prefer. So they might love bows more, they might love swords more, they might love spears, hammers, or axes. And this is item crafting. If you click on one of these, it gives this culture the ability to build these weapons, like an evil staff, a white staff, a shotgun. And then last down here, we'll see their opinion on other people. We can see that old people in the family will receive more gifts. We'll see that gossiping is a pastime that brings happiness. War may bring a happiness to this culture. People can get inspired from talking to another. And younger people are showered with gifts until they've grown up, and then they have to face the real world. And then here we have a nice one. This is probably my favorite part of cultures, their worldview. First, we have join or die. Enemies on the brink of death may switch sides instead of perishing. So they may just give up and join. Now, eccentric guards, they see other cultures as inferior, meaning that they will rather kill them than integrate them. Then we have serenity now. People focus on present tranquility. They're peaceful. They won't start wars. Then we have xenophiles, which means that they find strength in diversity and unity in differences. They like other cultures. They're fine with other cultures. They're accepting all of that. Then we have xenophobia, which is the opposite, and they hate other cultures. And that leads them into more conflicts, more death, all of that. Then we have the animal whisperers, which allows this culture to speak with animals. And for legacy keepers, this culture will focus on maintaining their legacy at all costs. And true roots will prevent people of this culture from changing religions, cultures, or language at all. And lastly, with culture, we have to look at the onomastics graph, which might look like a lot here, but I'm just going to tell you, it's pretty simple. This is how they determine their unit names, their family names, their clan names, their village names, and their kingdom names. It's done by basically an amalgamation of all these different rules here. So these are different groups that you can add in here. So as you can see, I can start typing in Jackal or Jack or Sam or Todd. And as you can see, that this is a building block for the name. So now, as you can see, all of the new unit names that are coming up may involve Jackal, Sam, Todd, all that stuff. And then obviously for family, they might use a different building group too. So that's why we might see different stuff for these names too. And this up here is basically the order in which stuff is made. So as you can see, if I leave just group 1, which is where these names are from, all the names will just be Todd, Jack, Jackal, Sam, Tam. It's just such like that. You can add stuff here, and if you start adding some of these random things here, suddenly the names get quite complex. And so you can play around with these. I can't really go over all of them here, but it's still a lot to look at. And that's a mouthful, so we're going to have a quick dance break. Next, we'll take a quick look at family. And family is honestly kind of underwhelming in this game to be. Families don't work like they kind of do what you would think in real life. A family in this game is only the parents and the children. And when the children have children, that creates a new family. So it's not really an easy thing to check. There's no special things about it, but in a family, you can still check the two parents. You see these two living guys here and their kids. So it's still pretty cool. Next, I think we should look at clans. Clans have also always been in the game, but they've been given some serious buffs here. So as you can see, it's just like normal. You can see the clan members, but you can also check the clan editor, and you can give members of this clan some special powers. You can give them more mana if they're female, more mana if they're male, more mana in general, more stewardship, more power. I'm just going to go over all these. You can look at them. It's a lot of stuff. Make them smarter, make them better at war, make them more loyal, give them more opinion, give them more size, make them stronger, give them unlimited lifespan essentially. I mean, 1e to the 9th power, I don't even know what number that is, how many zeros, a lot though. More stamina, more damage, more health, armor size, speed, or you can even give them some crazy stuff like a death triggers a devastating explosion, their cursed lineage gives them a short life, blood explodes when spilled, they can't use magic, they can have unlimited clan members, they can have a couple clan members, or they can barely have 5 clan members. And clans, once again, still awesome stuff. I've been talking about a lot here, I hope you guys haven't fallen asleep yet, but let's look at the religion. Probably the thing that you may have been looking at the most. There's a lot of stuff here. So as you can see, we created this little gingerbread religion a few minutes ago, and let's click on it. So religions, as you can see, can have a lot of members. It's kind of like culture, language. It can have a ton of members. And once again, there is a little religion editor we can click on. And in Harmony, obviously, these little 4 pieces here will just give you more stewardship, intelligence, diplomacy, warfare, all that. But then there's some really interesting things down here. There's like creation. You can make trees and plants fight your enemies. Summon magical vines that will entangle and slow down enemy warriors. You can spawn plants and trees at will. You can make barren land come alive with a fresh blanket of grass. You can inflict a curse on your enemies. You can conjure up flames at will, cast lightning, cast tornadoes, summon meteors, summon fire clouds, summon thunderstorms, summon an earthquake, summon rage, summon demons. There's a lot of destruction here, but then there's some restoration. You can heal illnesses and diseases. You can heal wounds and make it rain blood, which will heal you. You can raise the dead. You can summon coffee to make your units faster. And maybe you can even raise skeletons to fight for you. You can create a barrier protection for your warriors. You can summon sharp angles to fight your enemies. You can create a bubble shield. You can protect your buildings from catching fire. You can drown your enemies in madness. You can just straight up cause rebellion in an enemy kingdom. You can change clan members into a new species. You can just simply teleport far away, or you can even silence your enemies, just making them unable to cast spells for a long time. And then over here we have the bloodline bond, which if you turn this on, only members of the clan of this religion can actually use the religious powers. Click this off, literally everyone can use these powers. Now I do want to add right here real quick that to use these powers, it takes mana, which we saw in some of the other traits. Mana is your ability to use some of these powers. So like your normal citizen wouldn't be able to like summon a meteor, but if you have a very powerful guy, he might be able to. That's how the game stops it from everyone of this religion just killing everyone else. And lastly, down through here, we have transformation. Basically, this religion, you can spread the wasteland, you can summon the singularity swamp, you can summon hell, you can summon the desert, or you can summon the corruption biome. The list goes on. There's no water here, but another thing they added is navies. So now when fights break out, boats can actually launch bombs onto the coastline of enemies and do some serious damage. There's a few more little things here that I forgot. We can check the happiness of units. So if you see, if I click this on, we can see a little happy face or maybe like a meh face on these units. But if I click it off, they're gone. You can see the task of those units. So this guy's just waiting around. This guy's engaging in conversation. These guys are no clue. Or you can even see the transaction of money. Another thing you can see is the architect's name, which is your name. So I can make it just Jackal. And you can set your mood, which this doesn't really do anything. It just changes the color. So how about a nice little red? That looks pretty cool. But this is basically the name of your god itself. This is your name. You can set it. It's pretty cool because when you spawn people in or you give them stuff, like say this guy, for example, say I give him a helmet, it'll say created by Jackal from the void 0 years ago. So pretty cool. And you can see here in the main menu, you can check your game statistics. Well, I believe this might actually be my overall statistics too, because I don't think I've been playing on this world for a week. How many trees have grown, how many meteors have launched, pixels exploded. creatures born and died, which that's kind of concerning to me how in my total playtime 900,000 more creatures have died than been born. Bombs dropped, subspecies created and thus went extinct. Languages created, forgotten. Cultures created, forgotten. Families created, forgotten. Almost 200,000, wow. Clans created and forgotten. Books written, books read, books burnt, which I guess you can do that. Religions, kingdoms, cities, wars started, pieces made, plots succeeded, plots forgotten, elves sacrificed, alliances made, dissolved, cities rebelled, all of this. But if you want to check more into your world stats, you can just click on the bottom right here. And you can see a lot of stats here. This is where you can also see the interesting people of the whole world. This includes the entire world here. Most known, and you see there's a bunch of different subspecies here. Most kills. This angle right here is 14 kills. Wow. Happiest, the hungriest, the strongest, the overall population pyramid. More graphs you can even see here, and look how much stuff you can add. You can even check how much a certain biome has grown. How many tiles, like how many frozen ones. Obviously can't cover this all. When this comes out on mobile, it's huge. You can check stats about the biome, how many tiles of each biome are in the game right now, mostly birch we can see here, how many deaths have happened and why they happened. So a lot of natural deaths, some were eaten, some died of conflict, some by explosion. And then in the news sphere, which is more about the actual life itself, we see subspecies, families, kingdoms, cities, made, forgotten, and we can even see some of the things. So the most populated village, the biggest, the most populated kingdom, culture, religion, all of that, all of it. And then we can still see the general stats here too. It really is truly amazing. This update's been out for a while, but I'm still discovering new things every day. No wonder it took so long to come out. So we just have a few more things here. We have some dust. This is the black dust, which will make creature forget everything. And by everything, it means their language, their culture, their religion, all of it, their family. We have the red dust. This one will make the creature forget their family, their clans, and their loved ones. Blue dust will make the creatures forget their culture. Purple dust will make creatures forget their religion. Gold dust will make creatures forget their kingdom. And the white dust will make creatures forget their language. Also, you can now do loot rain too, which means you can select what loot to rain down on someone. So you can pick armor and a sword, or armor and a shield, or just armor, whatever, and you can raid it at it. And as you can see, all these flower guys now have cool armor and swords completely free. A few new world laws have also been added. One of the harmony ones is the Grin Reaper. He collects smiles and souls. I don't know what it does. It sounds ominous though. We have Gaia's Covenant, which will essentially mean that damage to the world from explosions, fire, and disaster is disabled. Glitch New Sphere, religions, languages, cultures will go off the rails with random traits. Just everything will just go wild, pretty much. If you want a wild playthrough, this is for you. Gene Spaghetti, new subspecies are born with a tangled mess of random genes. Most subspecies, when you spawn them in, already have a set gene or a couple sets of genes that they can use. With this, when you spawn a new one in, it's just random. Anything could happen. And mutant box, new subspecies are created with a mix of random traits. So this is the same thing that I just said, except for instead of the genes, it's just their traits. We have the drops of thoughts, which means sapient beings can now fall genuinely just from the sky, from the clouds of life, which is cool. We can make explosive mushrooms, but also we can turn on the monolith, which is the last thing that I will mention in this video. The monolith is awesome. You may have seen it in the game for a long time, and it finally has a use. Every so often, it will activate like that. And when it activates, as we can see, it can mess with the genes and traits of everything next to it. It even led to the creation of this little slime kingdom here. It randomly mixes the genes and traits and subspecies of any creature that goes by it, potentially turning them into their own sentient or sapient species, which is awesome. And I have made a few videos about just leaving the world alone with monoliths. So if you want to check more about the monoliths, go check those videos out. But in general, that is pretty much all I have to say about the new update. I think it's amazing. I think it's awesome. Thank you for watching the whole video if you did. And I know this video kind of ran on long, but I just wanted to try to cover everything for the new update before it came out on mobile. So if you enjoyed, subscribe, and if you want to see specific parts of this update in action, just check my channel to see if I've already made a video on it, and if I haven't, comment about it and I will certainly make a video on it. Also, if I missed anything about the update, because it is very big, so it's hard to get everything, just let me know in the comments too. So I will see you guys in the next one. Farewell.